It's 6 o'clock. We call the meeting to order. Please make sure that you silence your phone at this time. Take the roll call, please. Ms. Sisso?
Ex officio Marthouse.
Here.
Director Tozan.
Here.
Director Ramirez.
Here.
Director Nutting. Director LaFontaine.
Here.
Director James.
Here.
Director Blackwood.
Here.
Secretary Sislo here. Treasurer Becker.
Here.
Vice President Gillen.
Here.
President Knobloch.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Sislo?
As you'll note on the agenda, the minutes of 6/20/22, which was our organizing meeting, were approved by email vote completed by 6/22/22.
Okay, thank you. Do we need to amend or approve the meeting agenda? Speak up.
Yeah, I'd like a motion to amend the, the members of the admin committee, and I'd like to remove Ronnie LaFontaine and replace with Dennis Tozan.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, then we'll just ask for a roll call. I mean, excuse me, not a roll call vote, just a show of hands. Right hand if you approve doing that. Thank you. Okay, so when we get to that part of it, when we get to that part approving that, we'll mention it also. Okay, the president.
I have one quick one. I need to amend the agenda, please, to include a final section called the POA member comment on non-agenda items. I neglected to place that on the agenda.
Oh, okay. So that'll go right before the very bottom where it says next meeting.
Please.
We'll just put it in right there. Okay, the president's report. Yesterday, it was reported that on social media, there was a comment that the club was being closed all day. That was completely false, okay? We did have some groups who actually changed their plans and went to eat somewhere else. My point on that's a perfect example of why everyone should sign up to receive e-blasts from the POA and or be able to check the POA's Facebook if you use Facebook. If the POA facilities are ever going to close for some reason, the POA e-blast and Facebook page would immediately show that once a decision was made. Congratulations to Hoppy Smith, who was nominated by the Gulf States PGA as a finalist for the 2022 PGA Young Players Development Award. Diamond Head is one of the largest contingents of junior players in the whole Southeast. In addition, I was just told that one of our junior golfers qualified to participate in the second round of the National Drive, Chip, and Putt Contest. You might remember that about a year ago, one of our junior golfers came in second place in the national competition, which was held in Augusta, Georgia. Since we recently had an election, I'll repeat what I said 2 years ago after that election. The monthly board meeting is designed for the board to vote on options and take care of their own business, okay? There is a designated time for members to speak on agenda items before the vote is taken. In addition, there's a separate time to speak on non-agenda items a little bit later. There are 4 things really that we need to remind everybody of. Normally, there's a 3-minute of time limit availability. Direct all comments to the chair of the meeting, whoever that might be. Do not use individual employees' names or board members' names. And finally, speak in a language that would be normal business language. Thank you. We're having some situations where customers refuse to show their ID cards but insist that they receive the 15% discount when purchasing something in Latitude 30, the Oak Room, the patio, tennis club, pro shop. And they often say, well, you know me. When the staff asks to see their ID card, some people become belligerent, with the server, even refuse to leave them a tip, which in my opinion, that's just my opinion, that's totally ridiculous. The staff should not have to deal with this situation. So consider this. Some people pay dues by the year, some pay by the month on a month-to-month basis. No problem with either payment. But however, we do have some property owners who pay, for example, the first 4 months, but then they stop their automatic withdrawals. Okay, so after a period of time, they become members not in good standing. So that makes sense. Okay, using the scenario I just said, the result is that members who are in good standing sometimes have to pay to subsidize members who are not in good standing. And that's flat out wrong. That's my opinion, okay? So to try to solve that, my guess is members who are in good standing don't want to pay for members who are not in good standing. So we're asking for your help to automatically show your ID card when the waitstaff asks you to see it. We're working to implement a system where the customer will have to show his or her ID card when they place an order. Okay? The system will then automatically give you the 15% discount or not give you the discount if you're not in good standing. The server will not be able to implement a discount if the customer is not in good standing. Now, we're hoping to finalize this, and there's somebody in this room who I'm putting the pressure on him, and I won't even look at him right now. Hopefully this will all be finalized within the next 2 weeks, okay? So that's good. At this time, the process will involve two steps. They'll have to pick up your ID card, the server would. There will be a computer tablet in that area to check to see if you're in good standing. The tablet will have up-to-date information every day, okay? If in good standing, the tablet will say, good guy. If you're not in good standing, the customer may give a different signal. But if the signal will be you're not in good standing, it might be a hand signal, who knows? Repeat, this is being done to ensure that members who are in good standing are not subsidizing members who are not in good standing. We're also ordering new ID cards, which will be a different color. They'll have a magnetic strip on them, which allows us to do some other things that we presently can do now. And this is when this is implemented, hopefully in a fairly short period of time, that's the way it'll work. If you want to, once that is implemented, for example, if you want to leave a credit card on file with a POA, you can do that. And what would happen is when you show them your ID card, it would automatically charge your credit card for it. It's strictly your choice. No, but we're not saying, you have to do it that way. But there's several other things that we'll be able to do a lot easier. So we hope to get everyone in the habit of showing their POA ID card, and we ask everyone to start doing that immediately and encourage your friends to do that also. Yes, every time my wife or I buy anything, we automatically pull out the ID card, and show it to them. Most of them know who I am, not everybody necessarily. If you don't believe me, ask any server. Recently, I had a discussion with a non-golfer about using the cart pass. He told me he paid his dues, so he should be able to use his card on the pass whenever he wanted to. Although this has been explained by me at least once up here, another time in writing in the Diamond Head News, I'll repeat the thing. Explanation. The golfers who have their own cart pay $700 a year fee to use it on the golf cart pass. A golfer who does not have a personal golf cart, he either pays a cart rental fee every time he plays or he walks. If a couple has 2 golf carts, they pay an additional $440 for that second cart to be able to use the golf cart pass. Non-golfing property owners do not pay this fee. The individual to whom I was talking, and I suggested that maybe he would want to pay that fee, politely, he declined. Okay? Some of our golf cart paths are relatively close to homes. In fact, close. Okay? We're receiving more complaints than usual that some residents are using golf cart paths late in the evening, playing loud music, which can be heard by people inside their homes. So we're simply common courtesy asking if you are out there, please don't play loud music that can be heard in homes when you're driving by somebody's house. Thank you. Now we have a committee reports. We'll start down on this end. Mr. Ramirez, do you have anything?
So since we're starting the committees over, I do not have anything at this point.
Okay. Who's next? Mr. James?
Yes, the new golf committee met on the 14th of July. We done an introduction of the new members, myself, Ronnie LaFontaine on the board. The new members were Jeff Ware, Robbie Ridenhour, Art Burgoyne, Jody Crosby, and Quentin Spencer. We got briefs from the green superintendent. They completed the aerification of the Cardinal and will take 3 to 4 weeks to recover. They will do dry jet on the Cardinal greens on August the 8th, and there is planned improvements to the approach around number 2 Cardinal Green, where they have raised the canopy of those trees to prevent carts from going so close to the green. We also got briefed on activities from Chris. They had a very successful Magnolia tournament on the 2nd and 3rd of July. They have some upcoming events, the Southern Junior Cup at the end of the month, men's USGA 4-ball in the fall, and the drive and chip and putt sub-regional competition. So Diamond Head is getting a lot of recognition. We have great courses, and we're getting a lot of national recognition, just like Hoppy is. We also discussed tee assignments for tournaments, members, and guests. Driving range improvements that was agreed on the prior committee, and we discussed condition of the water hazards on the course, or so-called ponds. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Becker, do you have anything?
I defer to the chairman of the 3 committees I'm on.
Okay, Mr. Gillen?
We didn't have a meeting this month yet, again, but we did have one last month. The material for the new docks are supposed to be in August. Sometime in August is the last we heard. And if you want to be in those docks, please go over and register yourself with the harbor master and get on the waiting list. There are several things that you need to do to make sure you get on that list. They will go fast. Anything else? But we didn't discuss much of anything else.
That's it? Mm-hmm. Okay, the Futures Committee will have its first meeting later this week. Ms. Sislo?
And the Recreation Committee is scheduled to meet on August 1st.
Mr. Tozan?
The House Committee met July 14th. The new members are Gary Becker, Kelly Kennedy, Pat Burgoyne, Greg Apathy, Ronnie LaFontaine, Chris Rom, Dennis Tozan, Bobby Groh, Annalise, and Tracy White. In the meeting, we discussed the focus of the 22 committee will be more on increasing profits and reducing losses, and not quite as much on major capital expenditures. Chris Rom's report, he discussed the systems being implemented for all members needing to present their cards to get the 15% discount. That was all explained by the president. We discussed the practice of billing for the use of the ballrooms. While members in good standing are afforded the use of the facility at no cost, non-members are charged a fee for the use of the facility. The charge for that use will revert back to the $1,400 each use as it was before. The policies and practices for service provided in the ballrooms will be reviewed and upgraded to provide better service for all foods and beverages and the other services. We discussed the need to replace and update the china and silverware for both the Oak Room and the ballrooms. We discussed the need for a tilt skillet for the kitchen. We discussed the status of both stoves. While now serviceable, they're both old, and plans should be discussed to replace one at a time to avoid unplanned outages. All items presented by Chris will be researched and discussed by in future meetings. Recommendations will be presented to the board for approval at the appropriate time. Our next meeting is scheduled for the second Thursday of the month. That'll be August the 11th, I believe it is, at 3:30. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. LaFontaine, do you have anything?
We have organized our Safety and Environmental Committee, but we have not met at this time.
Okay, Mr. Blackwood?
The admin committee will meet for the first time later on this week.
Thank you. Mr. Marthouse, anything? I have nothing to add. Okay, next is the general manager's report.
Hello, everybody. As is typical, I've put together an information packet for each of you. Included in the packet will be the POA goals and focus summary. One item that I'll point out, the marina has appointed Miss Diane Simonson as the new harbor master. Most of you know Diane from her performance on the Beverage cart on the golf course and also in food and beverage services. She has a background that I wasn't aware of, but she served in the Navy for some time, so she can swim, and she's looking forward to doing great things at the harbor.
Always a good thing.
Human resources, Andrea Jones, who does many things for us, will take on some additional responsibilities in the HR department, and that is a necessity as Megan Gorman has left us for another opportunity closer to her home. So due to her resignation, we've moved Andrea into the role of HR. And the rest of this really is various projects that we have going on at the time. The next page that I refer to, item B, is the typical amenity use summary. And it shows the rounds of tennis matches, the revenue for golf, as well as the rounds played. And although June shows a decrease in the rounds played based on what was budgeted, the total revenue received, due in part largely to a successful month in merchandise sales, we exceeded budget by a little over $14,000 to the good. Golf continues to have a very good year, both in golf maintenance in terms of quality of turf and also in operations, revenues received. Swimming pools activity continues to be very strong. Numbers tell the story. Tennis is showing increased activity. The marina shows that we're selling some fuel and it's just starting to break the ice on selling some beer. So when you go out to the marina in your boat, recognize that what we're going to try and do through the ship store and with the direction of the new harbor master, have it set up where it's one-stop shop, where you go to the marina, you get your ice, your bait, your beer, and some more beer. We also point out the revenues received through the RV storage. Moving to the next report. This is a fun report to do, and it's based on information that Chris Rahm provides on food and beverage sales. It basically says that the average revenue received per month for the first 6 months of the year is a little over $200,000. In the month of June, the revenue received was $212,877, so it exceeded the average. It also points out the volume received based on day of the week, and it ranks the days, Saturday being the most responsive in terms of generating revenue, and Mondays being least. It also points out where the money's being spent and what part of the club. Latitude 30 is nearly 70% of the total revenue received. So it's a fun report to put together, and it begins to tell a story. The next page, I disclose that the financial report for June is a little bit delayed. Our controller, Darian McInnes, is dealing with COVID-like symptoms. He doesn't know if he has it or not, but he was not able to generate the financial statements in time. The next item, item E on your list, deals with the operations budget timeline for year 2023. And it points out that as early as August 1st through the 5th, we begin to, the controller, myself, and the treasurer will begin to meet with the department managers and begin the process of putting budgets together. Our target is to have a budget submitted to you, the board, for October 1st, I think is the deadline that we try and meet. Item F is a memo that is really to address in some part the topic of what President Knobloch referenced in terms of members in good standing and the need to show your ID card to the employee, server, waitress. In the content of the memo, not only does it emphasize the value of and the necessity to show your card, but it also addresses the obligation and the responsibility of patrons of the club to adhere to the club's rules and regulations. And any individual, whether it be a member in good standing, or a member, or an outsider, or a guest, any person that harasses employees or speaks to them in a tone that could be defined as not in keeping with the best interest of the club will be dealt with privately and seek repercussions based on their conduct. That's not a threat, that's just fact. Page G is a report that deals with collections efforts, and it shows that through those efforts, $147,000 have been received as a result of putting together payment plans, and that's due largely to Ms. Kinsley and Ms. Jones and Mr. Sharp's efforts. So, sales and marketing budget report put together by Ms. Nancy Perkins. This report basically discloses that we will be involved with two significant events in the fall. September 30th, there's a POA member appreciation and patio anniversary party that will be promoted September 30th. And it seems like it's going to be one heck of a celebration, good time, and encourage all POA members to be on the lookout for it. Mark the date. In fact, what you need to do is mark September 29th before 4 p.m. if you purchase your ticket. If you're in good standing, the price reduction in being able to attend and enjoy is significant. So we look forward to that. And the other function that's going to take place is the Fall Festival. It's October 22nd, and it's going to be a bunch of vendors, arts and crafts, and food. Another fun day. The weather will be perfect, I know. So no need to worry about that. And the community center reports activity. As we all know, they hosted the board election recently. And congratulations again to all of you who have been voted in. Thank you for your time and energy, guidance. And just a couple other things that I'll bring to mind. The airport lease will expire with the current tenant July 31st. We've not received a notice to renew. Therefore, we will begin to make it known to the marketplace that we'll entertain bids. The Lazy Gator, there's a possibility that there'll be new tenants assuming the role of day-to-day operations. As I say, there's a possibility, and we believe that it's in a good position, and we wish the new tenants all the best. I love competition, and we wish the previous tenants all the best in their future. Other than that, if there's questions, as you know, I'm readily available anytime, any day, any week.
I have one comment. People in the audience, you may not know, the POA actually owns the building where the Lazy Gator is and owns the parcel of land there. We pay almost $30,000 a year in property taxes on that particular piece of land. Okay, and so we have a new tenant, hopefully, coming in. I believe the closing date is this Friday if everything goes okay. And they seem to be impressive. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. The next, we have any POA members who wish to comment on agenda items. Mr. Marthouse, that's right next to you. On agenda items. Mr. Molo, would you come up, please? Just remind you, you heard what I said earlier about using decent language.
Yes, sir.
There's a 3-minute time limit.
Yes, sir.
You're
Good
on.
evening. I wanted just to say that I had earlier sent an email this morning to the members of the board, all except 2 members. I've got the email out this morning. It was to address the motion that was going to require the POA membership cards. And earlier this evening, it was kind of made clear when you were speaking that a lot of that stuff was addressed and that within the next couple of weeks there would be a system in place. I pretty much addressed the animosity and some of the frustration that I noticed with people, with members having to show cards, and then of course with the staff and so forth. But I said that was only part of it. There also was the fact that you brought up, the fact that folks, that just showing a card means you have a card. It doesn't mean that you are entitled to that discount or buying passes, guest passes for the pool and so forth. So that wouldn't necessarily mean that folks that are members in good standing or paying their dues pay for that and they're doing the right thing, and somebody else gets the benefit just because they could show the card. And that's assuming if the card goes like this, that they actually acknowledge that's the person. So that was the issue. I sent the email, and I just wanted to thank you very much for clearing that up and addressing that at the very beginning of the meeting. So I thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you. Okay, next we have, this is a motion on the regular agenda, motion 2022-17, a motion to approve the charters and the memberships of the following committees. Administration, and we made a change to that. We're going to add, we're going to take off Mr. LaFontaine and add Mr. Tozan, okay? That includes in the airfield and marina, facilities, food and beverage, and commonly called the House Committee, the futures, golf and grounds. We combined grounds to golf this year because they basically, the same people do the work, okay? And then we had recreation, safety, and the Violations Compliance Committee, the VCC, we just added that in this particular time. So someone like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Okay, Mr.
Blackwood
made the motion to approve it. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Marthouse seconds it. Any discussions, Mr. Blackwood?
No.
Anyone else? Okay, so all in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, the vote was unanimous, with the exception that Mr. Nutting is not here. Is he the only one? Mr. Nutting's not here. Okay, second, we have a motion to approve a range ball service dispenser with E-range, a ball washer, caddy, bag stands, range mate club cleaners, 2 new brush sets, and Sonic's range targets at a cost not to exceed $20,000. Someone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. James makes a motion. We need a second.
I second.
Mr. Becker seconds. Okay, Mr. James, you're up.
Yes, the motion and request is, as you said, to replace the dispenser, the ball washer, caddy stands, club cleaners with additional brushes and targets. These dispensers have been in service close to 3 decades. They're almost to the point where they can't be maintained. We are asking for those to help improve efficiency, labor costs, and to better serve the users. The financial impact is not to exceed $20,000, which includes freight of these items to the golf club. And just for reference, the driving range revenue per year is $40,000. So, in my opinion, this is an effort well worth having an item that services our tenants. That's it.
Any other comments? Mr. Becker?
Yeah, this was something that Ronnie and I and the members of the golf committee had discussed in the previous golf committee. We've been looking at it for several months. They compared several options. It's going to give us increased functionability at the actual station down on the range, as opposed to everyone always having to go up to the pro shop. Our maintenance staff has been challenged to keep the old one running for the last year or two. They're constantly working on it, and it's down and it's up and it's down and it's up. And when we called a few months ago to inquire about getting parts to try to refurbish it, we were just laughed at by the manufacturer. So it's well past its useful life and needs to be replaced.
Anyone else? Question?
So I just have a comment. I'm not a golfer, and I didn't understand how this piece of equipment worked or how it was needed or what. So anyway, I want to thank Greg and Chris Altice for sending me the information and videos and taking me on a tour and getting me up to speed before the vote tonight. So thanks, Greg.
Okay, well, I'm not a golfer either, and I would like to know what does E-Range do for the dispenser?
The E-Range is a mechanism, an electronic mechanism that allows people either via a app on their phone or a phone that has previously purchased dispensed or buckets allowed, then that allows them to do that versus going to the pro shop, paying for it, getting a coin and inserting a coin. It's an electronic means of doing this versus manual.
Okay, great, thank you.
I have one question, I guess. So the little push button looking things that we have now can be thrown away?
No, I wouldn't say that yet.
I haven't
But-
used mine in 5 years, so I'm just curious.
Well, Ernie, some people use it every day.
Okay.
What's the lead time, Ronnie, on the new one?
Up to 3 months. That's why we're trying to get this pushed in as quickly as possible.
Okay.
A little humor, they should be in everybody's life. That kind of matches with trying to get the decking materials, or the piers or whatever out there. It's been forever. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll vote on it now. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay, it was a unanimous vote with the exception of Dr. Nutting. The third motion is a motion to require that all employees to ask customers to show their ID card whenever purchases are made. Someone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Gillen makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Blackwood seconds it. Mr. Gillen, do you have anything?
No, the only thing I'd like to add to that is it really frustrates me to think that there are people out there who are in good standing who think that it's below them to pull out their card and show it to the girl who's working and trying to do the best job she can for them. I would hope that everybody would just go and take a look at what we're trying to do here. These people that work for us are very hardworking. They do a fantastic job. If you're in there and watching what goes on, they are friendly. They try to do their best job for you. You know, it's just kind of ridiculous that we have to make a motion like this, but you know, that's my feeling.
Thank you. Mr. Blackwood, do you have anything?
I don't have nothing to add to that.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Hearing no other questions, we'll call for the question now. All in favor, just raise your right hand, please. Okay, again, it's a unanimous decision to do that. Passes. Okay, next we should have a section on the POA comments on non-agenda items. Mr. Ramirez?
Thank you so much for running.
Please, yeah, the microphone. I know this is old stuff for you. It
I don't
should
know
be
if I can
on.
handle talking on a
There you go.
microphone. I might be a little self-conscious about that.
Thank you. You can
Quit
go
laughing.
start.
No, really, thank you very much. You guys have got your hands around a multi-million-dollar business that is one of the main reasons that people move to Diamond Head. And then you look at the last few years, they're pouring in here, and I have yet to talk to a single one that isn't delighted with being in Diamond Head. Thank you very much for running and serving the people of Diamond Head. What I wanted to say is, and I thought at first it was a recommendation, but I realized somebody from the floor can't recommend anything. That's for you business. I'm simply going to suggest that you do something, and that is modify the charter. I was kind of surprised to find out that people who don't pay dues actually were allowed to vote in this last election. Caught me by surprise. When I was on the hot spot with Ernie there, we went by the bylaws, which were clearly stated: member not in good standing shall be suspended from the right to vote on such matters which may come before the membership meeting. They couldn't vote, and we were pretty strong about not allowing people to vote if they weren't in good standing. But it has been pointed out that in our charter there is actually a section which actually is some boilerplate way down on the bottom, section 7 of the charter, down at the bottom, allows each member to be vested in the right one vote in the election of all officers. The two obviously are in conflict. I am simply suggesting that you on this board modify the charter. You can do that because Mississippi law, and that is under 7911-299, allows you to amend the charter by the board, not the vote of the people. The board can do that. You modify it, you submit it back to the state, and they accept it. I've done exactly that for the church over here. Very easy to do. My suggestion, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments about that?
Lloyd, before you leave, would you provide Ernie with the part of the statute that allows us to do that with simply a board action, please? You don't have to do it now, but thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will obviously have to run that by the present attorneys. What we're dealing with is an attorney's opinion from 2015, okay, that says people not in good standing can vote for officers, not directors. I will not give my personal opinion of that, okay? I'll be politically correct. Anyone else have any other comments? I need someone now to make a motion to adjourn. We used to have Mr. Marthouse makes a motion to adjourn.